Bring your thirsty self right here, you got the time, we've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Oh, welcome to Maritime, yours and mine. Welcome, you know you're welcome. Welcome, everybody's welcome. Welcome to Maritime, yours and mine. It's all yours, and it's all mine. It's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here, you got the time, we've got the beer. Oh, what you have in mind. Ooh, welcome to Maritime. Welcome, you know you're welcome. Everybody's welcome, welcome to Maritime, yours and mine.
Welcome to Miller Time, as we are underway, moments away from the start here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Neil Bonnet of Bessemer, Alabama, in the National Engineering Warner Hodgson car. Starting fourth on the field is Rodney Combs of Lost Creek, West Virginia, the J.W. Hunt car, a car that Donnie Allison remembers well from his racing time in these machines. Number 89, Combs, will start fourth. Going third is Morgan Shepherd in car number 7. Morgan Shepherd qualified third, and in 2 laps, all the field is away, all 42 cars. In 2 laps, they will be racing. On the front row, it's Dale Earnhardt of Kannapolis, North Carolina. The Wrangler Jeans Pontiac, the Robert G. car, number 12, is outside of the front row. He qualified on the 1.5-mile track at 162.026 miles per hour, and Larry Pearson on the pole. What a story there. 1 year ago, he had great anticipation for this race, and then his dad took the car to Dover, Delaware, and was in one of the worst wrecks that David Pearson ever experienced. The car was demolished. Larry Pearson's hopes for this race were washed out. Now he's back, and he's on the point with some of the very best stock car drivers in the world, chasing him as we come down toward the green flag. Let's pause now for 10 seconds on the Performance Racing Network for station identification. The field is in the 3rd and 4th turn as we get set for this sportsman conflict. Donnie Allison, a thought from you about who to watch for in this race.
Well, you know, Ken, over the past few years, every time that the Grand National drivers got in a race like this, everybody considered them to be the favorites. I don't think that now, due to the fact you got the man on the pole that really hasn't had any Grand National experience, and I think if I had to pick a guy to really do the job would be Rodney Combs is a good one, 89, J.W. Hunt car, Jack Ingram, Sammy Ard, you know, and anybody that wins this race today is going to work all day for it, believe me.
Well, they're 1 lap away from a start here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today in this, the Miller Time 300, the adjunct, the prelude to the great Miller High Life 500 to be held here tomorrow. And if you can't share the experience with us at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, we certainly hope you'll be listening tomorrow afternoon to this great racing classic. A record crowd is here today for a sportsman event, a record purse, and I'm sure it'll be an exciting event. As to whether or not we'll set a record for 300 miles, usually this is a bit of crash and burn on Saturday afternoon. Tomorrow, of course, they'll be running for the record of 500 miles, which is held by Cale Yarborough at a 145-mile-an-hour average, and that record dates back to 1973. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the field is now in the back straightaway, and as they prepare for a start, number 21, Larry Pearson, carrying his dad's number, rests on the point, and the great North Carolinian Dale Earnhardt outside of the front row. He was the man who won here back the Memorial Day weekend in that sportsman competition. Field is coming through 3, and we're just about set to start the Miller Time 300 at the great Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Ford pace car is addressing pit road. Ladies and gentlemen, 42 strong. The field rolls down, being held down to about 50, 60 miles per hour. Gaining a bit of momentum, up to 70. Pearson beginning to break. Green is out. And Larry Pearson jumps in the lead as they get on to turn number 1 with Morgan Shepherd going to second place.
In third spot, Dale Earnhardt. Fourth is Rodney Combs. Down low in the fifth position, it's Neil Bonnet moving up. And flipping high is Combs, and he blocks off Bill Waltrip, who tried to make an advance to the fifth spot. So it's Waltrip and Bonnet riding fifth and sixth down the back chute.
In the seventh spot, we got Phil Parsons and Ron Bouchard. Here comes Sam Ard and Jack Ingram, the Ironman. A real battle up front, though, as Morgan Shepherd will lead. It'll be Pearson second, Earnhardt third. Rodney Combs pulls away in fourth. Here comes Waltrip and Bonnet off turn 4. At full speed for the first time, Morgan Shepherd is in front. Earnhardt is second. Pearson comes to third. Combs is in fourth. Waltrip is in fifth as they dive into turn 1.
Lead trio being paced by Morgan Shepherd, who has a 4-car length advantage over Earnhardt, who slides a little high in his Pontiac. Back in third is Pearson. Fourth spot about 10 cars back is Combs.
In the fifth spot, Darrell Waltrip. Sixth would be Bonnet. Seventh, Bouchard. Eighth is Phil Parsons. Ninth is Jack Ingram. 10th is Sam Ard. In the 11th spot, Glenn Jarrett. And here comes Allison up into 12th as they dive off turn 4. Allison charging out of the rear. That's Bobby. Donnie maintaining his spot as they break away. Battle for fourth position at the line. Delta picks up Combs. Waltrip going into fourth, and he brings with him into fifth. Neil Bonnet. No, Combs is back on the outside. Now on the inside, Bonnet takes over in fifth.
And quick spot belongs now to Combs, who's dropping back. Then Ron Bouchard rides 7th. Bill Parsons 8th. In the 9th spot, it belongs to Jack Ingram down that back chute.
10th would be Sam Ard. 11th, Glenn Jarrett. 12th is Bobby Allison. In the 13th spot, young Hickory driver Tommy Houston, the brother-in-law to Dale Earnhardt. And here comes Tim Richmond on the charge out of 4. Last lap at an average speed of 156 miles per hour. 3 laps complete. Shepherd now leads by 150 feet as he goes into turn number 1. That second spot is a contest.
And Earnhardt has about a half a car length advantage over third spot. Larry Pearson keeping the Pontiac, the Chattanooga Sioux car, screwed tightly to that right bumper. They're midway down the 2,000-foot long back chute.
And that second spot may be a challenge, but look at that battle for fourth between Waltrip and Bonnet. Inches apart at 160 miles an hour. Shepherd pulling away, breaking the draft. Here comes Pearson on the upstairs. Earnhardt shuts the door on him. 4 laps complete in the former National Sportsman champion. Shepherd stays in front, Earnhardt second, Pearson third. It is Waltrip fourth, Bonnet in the fifth position. Combs is back in sixth.
In 7th spot now, it looks like Bouchard. No, correction, that's Combs in 7th. 8th would be Bouchard, and mounting a charge is Phil Parsons coming off of turn 2. They're door-to-door down that back straightaway. Parsons and Bouchard headed toward 3.
It's rim rotting for Bouchard on the upstairs side of the banking, and all of a sudden Bouchard's going to shut the door on him. Here's Rodney Combs going high to the outside wall as they come off the floor. Pearson makes a move on Earnhardt. Down they come with Shepherd continuing to build his lead. Out in back, Sammy Ard is moving up through into 9th. Bobby Allison staying right there, and Jack Ingram is right behind Allison. But the leader is Morgan Shepherd, and he now has a lead of almost 1 2/10 seconds. Battle for second place in the back straightaway. Blown engine in the front straightaway.
And that blown engine belongs to the car number 86, and that would be the car driven by, well, we don't have him on our left.
He's spinning and crashing into the wall.
He goes up into the wall head first, bounces down on the apron right in the middle of turns 1 and 2. He's pointed back toward the infield retaining wall as 3 slower automobiles get by him. We'll watch for movement out of that automobile, but back to the tower right now.
That is Sage in car number 86 that has crashed in turn number 1. The caution flag was out, and everybody is driving this race very well, Donnie Allison. There doesn't seem to be anybody trying to be a rabbit out here. Morgan just seemed to build up a fairly secure lead at the top of the race. It was pretty good drive, 156 mile an average. They're staying right in there, but not doing anything inconsistent.
You know, and I noticed that back in the pack a little bit, we did see Neil and Darrell try to get hooked up together and try to make some ground up on Morgan. But right now, Morgan's car looks like it is a little superior, and he's getting through the corner extremely well. And we'll see what happens after this restart.
Accident happening in the 6th lap, in the 5th lap. And they are now running into 6th. We are under caution after an incident in turn number 1. Actually, the engine blew right at the start-finish line on Sage's car. He got into the first turn, got into his own oil, and looped the machine. So the first caution of the day as they come around, I believe they'll be completing the 8th lap as we get an uptake from scoring. We'll have Morgan Shepherd out in front. Jack Ingram is coming on pit road, and so is Tommy Houston in number 6. Ingram, battling for the national championship, is on pit road for right side tires. We'll be back with more after these announcements on the Performance Racing Network.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours.
Taking our first caution break here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And the number 7 car of Morgan Shepherd of Connell, North Carolina, in the lead in that Food Country USA Oldsmobile. The second slot, number 15 car, Dale Earnhardt, Kannapolis Kid. Number 21, Larry Pearson, who started out on the pole back in the third slot right now, the Chattanooga Chew Pontiac. Number 17, Darrell Waltrip in the fourth. And Rodney Combs of Last Creek, West Virginia, in the fifth position in the 89 car. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we say welcome to Miller Time. Here the 7th lap, and we're under caution for the moment. Mick Powell meet Robin Teal at the VIP Tower. Mick Powell meet Robin Teal at the VIP Tower.
We'll get a report on the Pearson situation in a moment. He showed some fire, and they now have a fire crew down there, and they've thrown some dry chemical on the car. Apparently, he did have a fire underneath.
I imagine what happened, the engine exploded and the hot oil on the headers and everything had started a fire because they do have an extinguisher down there trying to put it out.
50 laps complete. Here's Pat Patterson.
Okay, we're standing by car number 21, Larry Pearson's car in the pit right now. The hood goes up, the fire crews go to work up underneath this car. Pearson is out of the car, and of course the car is going to be out of it for this afternoon. There are very few other cars in at this point. We'll try to give you an update in just a few minutes.
51 laps complete this time by in the Miller Time 300, the sportsman event here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Morgan Shepherd just dominating in this event thus far. He has won twice on the Memorial Day weekend in the sportsman event preparatory to the World 600. 51 laps complete. Bobby Allison finds himself back in second place and trying to draw away from what is a 3-car battle for third that features Neil Bonnet in third, Earnhardt in fourth, and Phil Parsons running in fifth. And then in that 6th position and secure. It's at least 15, 20 car lengths back to the next machine, and that would be Lake Speed in the 7th position, and the 8th position is Ron Bouchard.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours, and it's all mine. When you're thirsty, self right here, you've got the time, we've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time.
Morgan Shepherd in that number 1 slot. Bobby Allison, number 2 in the 22 car. Number 15 is Dale Earnhardt. 75 with Neil Bonnet in the skull-banded race car driven by Phil Parsons in the 5th slot this moment here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Once again, to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, after the race is over today, to be sure to stay at the raceway, because after the race is over, you'll be seeing a special display of stunt performances from the folks of the Dukes of Hazzard TV show. The stunt drivers will be here to entertain you with stunt driving.
Now, the battle is for second place. Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Allison are hot on it as they come off turn number 4. The blue and yellow cars of the Wrangler machine sustaining second place. Allison tied to his bumper in third. Then the 4th place is Phil Parsons. Parsons stays there in 4th. Back on the track, having made his pit stop, is number 75, Neil Bonnet. Limping down pit road is number 94, Tony Cunningham, out of Hartsville, Tennessee. Cunningham is back on the track another time. 65 laps complete when they come by this time, and it appears that Darrell Waltrip, the defending champion of this race, will not be a factor, Donnie.
Well, you know, like I said earlier, unless they get a caution and they get to work on the car and make some changes, right now Darrell is just out of it as far as keeping up with Bobby and Dale. And, of course, Morgan Shepherd, he's out there riding by himself, and Bobby and Dale Earnhardt are having a heck of a race, and really and truthfully it's that to Morgan's advantage. You know, they're racing each other, and he's sitting out there and pulling away, and every lap he gets a little further away.
All right, now when should we begin to anticipate pit stops by all those leaders? I would say within the next 4 or 5 laps. 65 in, stopped at 20.
Well, I think that probably they're trying to go a little over 100 miles where they don't have to stop again for one more time, and I really don't know. I'm not you know, this day and time, they'll all go 120 miles. You can't really tell, but I think we're going to start having pit stops here in a little bit.
Bobby Allison in a heck of a fight for second place. He threw a dummy at Earnhardt. He faked for the outside and went right to the inside as if it was a half-mile race. And out of turn number 2, Allison draws the bead on the blue and yellow number 15. Midway down the back straightaway, it's Allison now trying to get a nose out front of Dale Earnhardt. He does so. Earnhardt comes right back on him. They touch sheet metal. They're so close as they come up into the banking. Out of turn number 4, looks like Bobby Allison's going to overcome Earnhardt for second. Great battle for second place. Allison is there. It is Earnhardt in second, and in third is Parsons. Johnny Anderson has pitted car number 5, which had been running in 12th position. The battle for second at turn 1.
Two very determined drivers there right now. Allison with the better of it, but here comes Earnhardt back looking low down the back chute off of turn 2. Phil Parsons is right there in the thick of things in the 4th spot as they're headed toward that number 3 turn.
You never rule Phil Parsons out as a sleeper. Earnhardt just nails Bobby's rear bumper, but Bobby slips away by a car length, pulls Earnhardt by 1, at least maybe 2. No, Earnhardt tries to look to the inside out of 4. Battle remains a tense one for second place as they work each other over. 69 laps now complete here in this 200-lap, 300-mile event. With 69 laps in the record book, you have a distance of 103 miles down, 131 laps remaining in the event. Battle is a tense one for second place. Allison very much there. Out of turns 3 and 4, Earnhardt again looks to the inside. Bobby just no go. You know, Bobby's been in this game a long time, and he'll race with the best of them. For sure, Dale Earnhardt might have a little less experience than Bobby as they come back to the stripe. Still Morgan Shepherd. Donnie, that performance by that car, the Whitaker car has had some incredible races this year. We saw that car in Toronto, Canada, with Dale Earnhardt in it, or a similar car out of the Whitaker stable. Literally come off the truck, never run a lap of practice, go out and establish a new track record on a 5/8 mile track. Some performance. They know how to put a car together.
Yeah, and here he comes down the pit road.
Leader is in the pits, and so comes second place. Earnhardt pulls on pit road. So we'll put the watches on those two. Bill Hennessy, our producer, has the watch on number 7, and we'll kind of follow along and see what number 15 does, Dale Earnhardt. And let's go to Chuck Young.
Well, quickly, the Wrangler team goes to the automobile gasoline only. They're looking over the tires, but there is no tire change, no chassis adjustment. Only fuel goes in the car. And Dale is getting ready to come back here. He's away from us, and a very quick pit stop for fuel only for Dale Earnhardt.
It's a 12 3/10 of a second on Earnhardt, and he's away. Longer stop, considerably longer stop, like 23 seconds on car number 7, Morgan Shepherd, and Allison comes in. Bobby Allison now pulls on pit road. And here's Pat Patterson.
Okay, Bobby Allison pulls in, and the crew goes to work taking on some 76 fuel. They'll go to the right side. Looks like they're just going to check the tires. I see the crew members going up again. Allison wants to pull away, and they're motioning for him to hold him in.
Still holding on Bobby Allison. More than 15 seconds on pit road. Now he's away. And it's 17 and 6/10 seconds. A lengthy stay on Bobby Allison. Now, what would you presume was the story there, Donnie?
Well, evidently they're just not getting the fuel in it fast enough because the cars that have stopped so far, they're just taking fuel on, and evidently it just wouldn't go in fast enough. And Sammy Yard didn't have the same problem. He's been there a good while now.
Sammy Yard is back to the track, and so is Tommy Houston. Tim Richmond is on pit road, and the leader, unofficially now, in the race, is Phil Parsons. Parsons is still out and still staying on the track. Here comes Waltrip onto the pit road. Joe Thurman is in. So we're in that period of the race where you have a real change of all the positions, and that extra time it takes some drivers. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to how good some of these guys are at getting in and out of the pits. So much time to be won or lost there. Never mind what the pit crew does.
Well, see, that's the thing, Kenny. It's very important how you get in and out of the pits, and you know, a second here and a second there, that's 2 seconds on the racetrack is a big distance.
The leader is Phil Parsons. Second place overall in the Miller time is Lake Speed. And going up into the 3rd position now is Ron Bouchard. Coming in very slowly is Rodney Combs. This car looked like he may have run out of fuel as he finally came to a halt in his pit area directly below us here at the start-finish line. Tomorrow it is the Miller High Life 500, a race that Donnie Allison won on 2 occasions. once beat his brother across the line. It's going to be a great deal of personal joy when you can go home and say to your dad, well, I beat my brother today.
Well, yes, it is, especially a competitor like Bobby. And, you know, he had several really good races where I won and he run second. The ones he won and I run second, I don't think were so good.
Ricky Rudd is now behind the wall. Ricky Rudd has taken his machine behind the wall. Pete Silva is on pit road. He's been having a pretty good day. He's been running 13th thus far in the race. Morgan Shepherd has been the leader after the pit stops. He's fallen back a bit, but when these pit stops have sugared off, you'll find Morgan right back on top of this Miller time race. That car is just running so flawlessly. Their pit stop was fair.
Well, right now, after the pit stops are all said and done, I think that Dale Earnhardt's going to be in the lead. He is in front of Morgan now on the racetrack, and a pretty good ways in front. Now, Morgan's coming next, and then Jack Ingram, then my brother Bobby, then Phil Parsons. So,
and Parsons has yet to pit.
That's right, and Parsons not got much of lapping him.
Here's Lake Speed coming on pit road. He had been shown running up there in that second and third spot, and now Lake Speed in the Bob Tizak car is down pit road. The Uno car locks up the brakes. Looks like he's having a little problem getting her forward, but he hit the pit right on the nose.
Well, I see all that oil drive right there on pit road, and you know, he did have a time. And my nephew Davey is coming in now, and we'll see how long it takes him.
Well, the nephew Davey is down here. Of course, he's been running just outside of the top 10. He's won a couple of ARCA races this year, the Automobile Racing Club of America, and earlier this season, we saw him in a splendid battle, Pocono, Pennsylvania, going to a strong second place, getting a lot of super speedway experience, and I suppose that's what the family has in mind for him.
Well, you know, it's really and truthfully, Davey's got a little job filling the shoes of his dad. You know, everybody expects Davey to jump in there and do it right away, but the kid's got to learn. He's doing an extremely good job, and everybody in the family is well pleased with him.
It's incredibly difficult for anyone to try to follow along, and particularly when there are a couple of brothers who have dominated. You were Rookie of the Year in Indianapolis. You've won your share of racing. I remember when you won this race tomorrow for Haas Ellington, gave him his first super speedway victory. I think it'd be very hard for any youngster to come along and try to do it because everybody says, he's nowhere near as good as the old man.
That's right.
Well, let's go down for just a moment to Pat Patterson, who's standing by with Ricky Rudd.
Okay, Ricky Rudd out here on pit road right now. First of all, you are okay, aren't you, Ricky? No problems?
Yeah, you know, I'm in good shape. The motor in the car didn't seem to do too well. You know, we came here, we had about one lap of practice on the track, and, you know, you just can't race when you go to races like that.
Leader is on pit road.
Race, you know, the competition has gotten their favorites out there. It's just as competitive as a Grand National race.
Okay, your thoughts on tomorrow? Any particular strategy for you, or just as fast as you can go all day long?
Well, I think you're going to have to run as fast as you can just to be able to keep up, you know, with all that lap money on the line. It's going to be a very fast pace tomorrow.
Geraldine Fortson called home, and it's an emergency. Geraldine Fortson
making an adjustment on the car. Phil Parsons is away. Got a lengthy run on that load of fuel. And at the 78th lap, at lap 78, Parsons is rejoining the race. Meanwhile, the Jarrett brothers who are out here today fighting it out. Number 24 is just pitting, Glenn Jarrett of Hickory, North Carolina. 80 laps complete on the leader this time. And the leader, as Parsons dives in, is car number 74. Ron Bouchard of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, is unofficially in first. And we would have unofficially in second spot Darrell Waltrip. I don't believe, has Darrell come in?
No, I
don't think so. I think he's in second, and we'll check back.
Yes, Darrell has been in.
Then he is not in second. Presumably would be car number 19 in the field. We'll give you a 10-lap rundown after we pause 60 seconds here for this message on the Performance Racing Network.
Bill Dollar back at the tower again as we take a break from the Performance Racing Network. And to the folks at the Miller Brewing Company, we say thank you. Miller High Life is proud to be a sponsor of racing's greatest doubleheader this weekend, the Miller Time 300, the Miller High Life 500. We're just as proud of their total NASCAR program, including Bobby Allison, the Dygard Buick, sponsorship of the Miller High Life 400 in Richmond next February. It's been a very rewarding year for Miller High Life, all possible because you, the best race fans in the world, here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. What can we say but welcome to Miller Time. Scoreboard's being corrected. We're at the 81st lap of this Miller High Life 300, Miller Time 300, 200 laps in this mile-and-a-half speedway, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Spectacle weekend with the Miller Time 300, the Miller High Life 500 tomorrow, and your leader posted on the board, Darrell Waltrip, with a number 28 car of Phil Parsons in second.
And at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hello, I'm Ken Squier with Donnie Allison today, and helping to cover the action, Bill Connell, Phil Overton, and standing by down in the press box area, Darlene Dixon. Within the pits, Pat Patterson, Chuck Young. At the 81st lap, Dale Earnhardt, with all the leaders now pitting. Dale Earnhardt is in first. Unofficially, they're showing Phil Parsons in the second position. The pit stop by Morgan Shepherd was not among the fleetest, and that's cost him a little. Earnhardt has the advantage. The Shepherd car is running in third. Bobby Allison is shown in fourth, and they're still showing car number 11 for fifth. Now, coming back on pit road is Phil Parsons. Something is amiss on Parsons. Let's go to Chuck Young and find out what.
Well, apparently they just came in and took tires moments ago. Now they've got a right side tire problem. The jack goes under the Skull Bandit. It's up. We'll find out which tire it was, but it's a right side tire problem. They're taking tires only. Back up to you, Kenny.
Fortune for Phil Parsons. Unfortunate time for this young man who was in a hellacious wreck back in May at Talladega, Alabama. One of those kind of things you hate to watch, but you're glad to know afterward that he came out nearly unscathed. A shoulder separation and some bloodshot eyes, but not much more after he tripped and rolled over some say 13, some say 17 times. It was a bad one. The car was put in the museum, it was so destroyed, but the story was that everything stayed up, and he was back the next week to watch them run. Let's go to Darlene Dixon for just a moment.
Ken Squier, I have with me Tom Chambers, the president of Goody Headache Powders, and I remember when Phil Parsons had that bad wreck, the first thing he asked Tom Chambers at a press conference one day is, what do you have to do to get the Goody Headache Award if he couldn't get it that day?
Well, he surely deserved it, Darlene. I tell you, he really had a terrific wreck here. But we're always available and always around for anybody that has any tough luck to cure that with a Goody's Headache Powder or Goody's Extra Strength Tablet.
We want to thank the Goody Headache people. They're awfully good friends here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thank you for being involved in Grand National Racing.
Thank you, and we wish everyone success tomorrow for the great race. And this great crowd today is just a beautiful sight.
Well, we certainly don't need any Goody Headache Powders for the weather, and tomorrow afternoon for the Miller High Life 500.
Trouble up at turn 4. Looks like Phil Parsons may have twisted another tire. Something wrong with the car. A lot of smoke out from under his car, and no caution in the track, but there's a tremendous amount of smoke as he goes into turn 1 out of Parsons.
It's coming out from underneath the automobile. It would appear to be mechanical problems. I don't think it's tires, as Parsons is off the pace down the back straightaway, and evidently will be coming in as he goes past Bill Connell's position next time around.
The interesting story here is that Earnhardt may be on his way to a back-to-back, although this is going to bring the field all tight together one more time. It's going to put Morgan Shepherd right back in the hunt behind Dale Earnhardt. There is no caution on the track. No caution. It has not thrown. And Parsons is now coming down pit road. Phil Parsons is in another time. And this pretty much makes an end to the hopes he had of winning this event. He is on pit road. They're going to continue to work on the car. Let's go to Chuck Young.
Well, this time they're going to take the left side up on the car, but it is a motor problem. As you may be able to hear through my microphone, it's running very rough. They're telling him to cut the motor off of the Skull Band. It's something very wrong in the motor department of Phil's car. We'll get a further report in a moment.
This is Mike Joy with 7-time NASCAR champion Richard Petty. Richard, I know you use plenty of goodies when you're at the racetrack with all the noise and pressures of a race.
Yeah, but that's not the only place either. I get plenty of headaches between races just thinking about the next one. So we keep plenty of goodies around our shop back home.
Read the label, folks. Goody's Headache Powders give you the most effective combination of pain relief ingredients you can buy without a prescription.
Goodies gets rid of the pain fast, and that's what counts.
If you're a smoker, take a pouch instead of a puff. I'm talking about new Skull Bandits, an individual portion of tobacco in a neat pre-moistened pouch. Listen to some guys who enjoy tobacco the Skull Bandits way.
You put that little pouch between your lip and gum, and what happens is real tobacco pleasure without lighting up.
Best thing about Skull Bandits is the wintergreen flavor. A pouch instead of a puff is the way guys are going to enjoy tobacco from now on.
If you're a smoker, try Skull Bandits. Take a pouch instead of a puff.
2 1/10 of a second at lap 88 was the advantage that Dale Earnhardt was enjoying over car number 7, Morgan Shepherd, in second place. Shepherd seems to be gathering time back, and we'll be following that story. We're going to pause 70 seconds, allowing our stations time to identify themselves and present these messages on the Performance Racing Network.
So apparently that's it for Phil Parsons with motor trouble after changing the tires. Some sort of engine trouble. We'll be getting a report from Pat Patterson in the pit road area in just a few moments when we return to the Performance Racing Network. All over for the Skull Bandit race driving brothers, Phil Parsons. Of course, he could be coming back tomorrow and racing at the Miller High Life 500. Along with his brother, Benny Parsons, in the Copenhagen car, and his Skull brother, Harry Gant. All three on the track tomorrow. Number 77 car in the pits of Old Milwaukee car, Tim Richmond. It's in the garage area, apparently. Tim's got some problems. Tim Richmond, the Old Milwaukee number 77 Sportsman car, is going back to the garage area. No smoke from the car, but evidently something is very, very wrong with that number 77 car from Tim Richmond. Turns out to be Dale Earnhardt's day at the moment. Morgan Shepherd in that second slot, Bobby Allison in third, Neil Bonnet in fourth, the number 11 car of Jack Ingram, the Ironman from Asheville, North Carolina, in the fifth at the 92nd lap of the running of the 11th annual Miller Time 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Goes like this. 11 cars were in the lead lap, with Shepherd first. Then in the second position, Earnhardt, Bobby Allison in third, Neil Bonnet in fourth, Lake Speed in fifth, and at halfway, Ron Bouchard was in sixth, with Ingram then in seventh. Eighth was Sammy Ard, and the ninth position was Tommy Ellis. Just 80 laps remained in the event. 80 laps to go, 120 down. Here's how they're deployed. In the front-running position, it is Morgan Shepherd in the number 7 car. Then Waltrip, now a lap down, and directly behind him comes the white red numeral number 22 of Bobby Allison, hounding the field in turn number 3, closing up on that leader. We'd like to say a special hello today to one of the longtime veteran broadcasters of the Grand National scene, Ray Melton, who's on the mend. We hope you're getting better in a hurry, Ray, and miss you here for this 500 weekend. This Miller High Life 500 is a crowd that you would enjoy. A massive organization here to enjoy this event, believed to be a record for a sportsman race. I look for a record tomorrow in the 500, and one person absent who has been here so many times, Ray Melton, will be back next year. Number 7 stays in front. Here he is out of turn number 4, and here is Waltrip trying to get his lap back done.
Yes, you know, like I said earlier, Walton's car is just not quite getting into the corner quite as good as Morgan's is, but he is trying, you know, if he gets the opportunity and the caution does come out, I believe he'll go ahead and try to get that lap back. Well, like I said earlier, it's just super. His car is doing everything he's asking and doing a little bit more, and as long as it's like that, he's just going to keep marching away. And, you know, Bobby and Dale Earnhardt are having a heck of a race, and I know that probably both of them are a little unhappy for the fact that as long as they race like they're racing, Morgan's pulling further and further away. And I know my brother well enough to know that he's probably letting Dale know a little bit with hand signals, you know, let's run together, let's get together and see if we can catch back up. And because every lap they lose us a little bit more time.
Let's go to the pits and talk to Tim Richmond.
Okay, I'm standing by here just for a minute with Tim Richmond. Tim, you had a good run out there today. Awfully sorry you shortened it up. What happened?
The thing just blew up. Either a cylinder wall or maybe a valve or something cracked, or maybe a head cracked. I don't know. They just started fluttering out there, and we had to get out of it because it was going to really eat his lunch here in a minute.
Any special thoughts about tomorrow?
Yeah, good ones. I really got some good thoughts about tomorrow. The car's running really well, even with the race set up on it, and I feel good. Everybody's pumped, and we've got the right attitude going into the race. So I just hope we come out of the race with the right attitude and a big trophy.
Okay, the pole sitter for tomorrow. Back to you, Kim.
The man who won at Pocono, Pennsylvania. They predicted they were going to win at Pocono, and they did. They predicted for the pole. I haven't heard what their prediction is for tomorrow. You know what a driver's prediction. If they're not optimistic, you don't want them for a driver.
If you're a smoker, take a pouch instead of a puff. I'm talking about new Skull Bandits, an individual portion of tobacco in a neat pre-moistened pouch. Listen to some guys who enjoy tobacco the Skull Bandits way.
You put that little pouch between your lip and gum, and what happens is real tobacco pleasure without lighting up.
Best thing about Skull Bandits is the wintergreen flavor. A pouch instead of a puff is the way guys are going to enjoy tobacco from now on.
If you're a smoker, try Skull Bandits. Take a pouch instead of a puff.
127 laps are complete. There are just 73 to go. Morgan Shepherd leads here in the Miller Time 300 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Second place is Bobby Allison. Third is Dale Earnhardt. Fourth is Neil Bonnet. And up to fifth moves Sammy Ard. Let's pause 60 seconds for our stations to bring you these messages on the Performance Racing Network.
Bill Dollar up at the tower, and we're still into that lead with Morgan Shepherd in the number 7 car, Bobby Allison in the second position, right ahead of Dale Earnhardt in number 15. 75 car, Neil Bonnet stuck in there at the number 4 position. And the 00 Sam Ard, points leader on the Miller Time 300 the points leader for the Sportsman Circuit in that 4th position here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Caution flag is out. The caution flag is out here.
68 to go, and it's race time. That's the Miller Time 300 as they dive into turn number 1.
And on the point is Dale Earnhardt, followed closely by Neil Bonnet, who rides second. Bobby Allison in the 3rd spot. Correction, that's Shepherd in the 3rd spot, and then we jump back a bit to Allison, who runs about 4th down the back chute.
That's Sam Ard up there in the number 3 spot, and Morgan Shepherd riding 4th. 5th is Lake Speed. They're all locked together, and Neil Bonnet could be the sleeper in this event because he's hanging on to Earnhardt. They dive off turn number 4, and they're really at war trying to claim the realistic part of real estate in this event. Now we're getting down to it, and we have Earnhardt in front after those pit stops. Bonnet in second, Ard in 3rd, Shepherd is 4th, and they double them up into turn number 1.
Where Bonnet drops the nose down inside, gets the nose now out in front as he scoots low, but it looks like Earnhardt's going to be able to stick in the high groove, and coming like gangbusters, making it 3 wide down the back chute is Morgan Shepherd.
3 wide it is, and here comes Sam Ard to try to decide that national championship. He wants to finish ahead of Jack Eagle. It's Shepherd. He touches with Earnhardt. Neil Bonnet is there. 3 cars. Bonnet will race with Earnhardt. Shepherd is back on the point as they come out of 4. 133 laps complete. Shepherd comes to the line side by side. Bonnet on the inside. Earnhardt on the outside. For second spot. Back in 4th by Sammy Ard.
Shepherd wastes no time in showing his superiority once again as he takes Neil Bonnet along with him. Bonnet and Earnhardt almost touch. Here's Ard back in 4th spot. Allison rides 5th, and Bouchard 6th down that back chute.
It is Morgan Shepherd, Neil Bonnet, Dale Earnhardt, Sam Ard. Could be a big surprise. Remember, he's not a Grand National Winston Cup competitor. He's all late model, and right now he's back in the number 4 spot. In 5th is Allison. Here comes Lake Speed and Ron Bouchard. Right behind Bobby Allison in the 5th spot. It is Lake Speed in 6th. Bouchard is in 7th. Tommy Ellis lies 8th overall. Ellis in the number 12 car. He is a lap down. Back they are in turn number 1, and beginning to build up a head of steam, Neil Bonnet. Now to the inside. Earnhardt is closing. He's going by on the bottom side. It is Earnhardt up into 2nd spot. Allison is on the drive. Ard is pulling up as they go to turn 3. Ard will take over the number 3 spot. Bonnet gets drop kicked back into 4th. Bobby Allison goes alongside Neil Bonnet. Look at Sam Ard. He is driving really tremendous strong-arming that automobile back into the stripe. Morgan Shepherd is not pulling away from Dale Earnhardt now, and Sammy Ard is up into 3rd spot. Sammy Ard on the drive. The first of the Sportsman regulars into 3rd spot. Bonnet is back to 4th. More from the Charlotte Motor Speedway upcoming.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours, and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time. We've got the beer for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time. Yours and mine.
The best beer for the best time of the day. Miller High Life. This is Mike Joy with 7-time NASCAR champion Richard Petty. Richard, if you get a headache out on the racetrack, what can you do to cure it?
Mark Wiles, meet your party at the hotel. Mark Wiles, meet your party at the hotel. Lap number 138. Morgan Shepherd looking strong once again. Dale Earnhardt in that 2nd slot out of turn 4. Coming across toward the stripe, Morgan Shepherd, Dale Earnhardt, and Sam Ard in that 3rd slot. Bobby Allison in 4th. Neil Bonnet back in the 5th position.
We'll pause 60 seconds. This is the Performance Racing Network.
And this is Bill Dollar up at the tower once again at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 139, almost 140 laps complete, 60 to go. Morgan Shepherd in that 2nd place duel now with Sam Ard, charging strong by Dale Earnhardt at the top of the third turn. And it looks like Sam Ard coming into the 4th turn to take that number 2 slot behind Morgan Shepherd. Sam Ard being waved on by the crowd here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in position number 2. Dale Earnhardt in 3rd. Bobby Allison in that 4th slot. What a drive for Sam Ard today out of Asheboro, North Carolina. The contender for the points lead in the sportsman standings this year here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, doing a supremely good effort. Sam Ard in that 2nd slot and Dale Earnhardt in the 3rd. But Morgan Shepherd still with the dominance, but who knows, Sam Ard driving the way he is could be the leader in just a few moments. But Morgan Shepherd doubtfully will let him have it. It's going to be a serious battle if he does. Into that 4th slot, into the groove, coming out of the 4th turn. Once again, Morgan Shepherd, Sam Ard, and Dale Earnhardt, 1, 2, 3.
141 laps are now complete in the Miller Time 300. With 59 laps remaining to be run, Morgan Shepherd is once again in first, but it's not as secure as it was earlier. The advantage is only 10 12-car lengths. He goes down into turn number 3, and Sam Ard, the first of the regular sportsman runners, is maintaining the second position. Deployed in third out of turn number 4 is the Dale Earnhardt car that won here back on Memorial Day. Racing fans have come from all over to see this event. Every state in the Union is represented in ticket sales for the 500 tomorrow, but one of the staunchest enthusiasts these days is a young man from Great Britain, Mark Thatcher. It's nice to see you back. I knew you liked the World 600, but I didn't realize that you were that taken with it.
Well, Ken, I've been in the States for a couple of weeks doing some business and things, and I was in Chicago, but I thought it would be a very good opportunity for me to come back down here and have another look at really how you do these things in the South, and I must say I'm very pleased to be here.
Well, what's called saloon car racing in Great Britain, this way, they run stock cars in Great Britain, do they not?
Yes, but it's a completely different structure from this, Ken. The closest thing we would come to is saloon cars on a road circuit, whereas the only oval racing that we do is on very, very short ovals, maybe 220 yards, and with midget racers, so it's all a little bit different.
As you watch Morgan Shepherd in first, and this Sammy Ard, this regular Saturday night runner in second, and Dale Earnhardt in third, and you've had some experience and done some driving yourself, any inclination to come over here and give this a go?
Oh, no, I think I better leave this to the pros, Ken. I mean, I've never raced on ovals of any sort, and it's a completely different technique. And, I'm retired now anyway.
Reaction to the audience here. Marvelous crowd for the European Grand Prix at Brands Hatch the other day, and Silverstone is always hours getting to and hours getting from, just thousands of enthusiasts, and Great Britain's a great motoring center. Your reaction to what you see in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Well, my reaction to this type of racing is that NASCAR racing, stock car racing, produces these types of crowds week in, week out, which is something that Grand Prix racing doesn't necessarily do. All right, it does it in a whole variety of countries, but the stock car fan, the NASCAR fan, is a dedicated enthusiast, and they follow their drivers and their teams all over the country, and their ability to turn out fans like this week in, week out, to me, is absolutely incredible.
145 laps are complete. We've been talking with Mark Thatcher. Nice to have you here. Any predictions on tomorrow? Would you choose one, sir?
Yeah, sunshine.
Okay. Well, I'd say that may be the most marginal thing today. Mark Thatcher of Great Britain spending just a moment with us, and we are now at 146 laps. At 146 laps, it continues to be the story of Morgan Shepherd here today, a man who has never won in this race, although twice in the spring encounter has come out on top. And today, that car will do two things. Number one, it will apparently dominate unless there's a mechanical on it. And number two, I think it'll be the inspector's favorite for hours after the event, Donnie Allison.
I think so, too. And, you know, Sammy Ard, get back to what I said earlier about the pit stops and changing the tire sizes and what have you. Sammy Ard is running a whale of a race right now, and I think if Morgan says, well, look here, I got my hands full with a regular sportsman man, I'm really amazed that, you know, Morgan, I'm sure, is trying to stretch it back out, but the further he gets away, the further Sammy goes with him.
And Sammy Ard has taken over in second, relegating the Earnhardt car to third, and if Sam Ard could pull this off, it would be worth, with the bonuses, some $30,000. Now, that would be the richest day a sportsman driver has ever had, though.
Well, you know, and really and truthfully, you know, Sam has run some awfully good races on super speedways, and he's very capable of winning this race here, and right now his car does look extremely good, and so we'll just have to keep everybody abreast of what's going on.
Bill Connell, you followed Sammy Ard for some time. Here he is. He seems to be still closing on Morgan Shepherd. What do you think the chances are he can pull it off?
Well, Ken, this is only the second strongest appearance overall in the last 5 years that I have seen Sammy Ard this stout on a super speedway. It was a couple of years ago in Daytona. He was strong like this towards the end. Look out, because each lap in the corners, he's able to close up on Morgan. Morgan's got more power through the straightaways, but Sam is bound to be thinking, will Shepherd's car hold out?
Sammy Ard, of course, in that battle for the championship, the overall national title. Is this the showdown between you and Ingram? Do you think it's going to finish it up right here today, Sam?
this one in Martinsville, and either one of them, well, anyway, we got 3 races left, and either one of them can turn it around. That's how close the points is right now.
It certainly is close. As they came into today's race, Ard had 4,924, Jack Ingram 4,898. Less than 40 points between them as they get down to the settle it. And, of course, that is not on his mind at this point. The only thing he's concerned with right now is a guy named Morgan Shepherd, who runs about 10 car lengths in front of him and still maintains that same interval all the way around the track, neither gaining nor losing. Looks to me like there's some more cards to be played here, Hill Overton.
You're exactly right, Ken Squier. We've been watching. In fact, last time by, Ard lost a little bit of ground as he had to almost give way to a slower car that moved up in the groove on him, so he might have lost a couple of car lengths, but he looked so very, very strong in that Oldsmobile automobile. In fact, the first 2 cars are Oldsmobiles, the point we haven't made much mention of this afternoon. The lead car of Morgan Shepherd takes it through turns 1 and 2, handling in that same bottom groove as he has been all afternoon long. But here's Sammy Ard now, closing the interval back down off turn 2. He looks just as smooth, really, as Morgan, and he's doing so very, very well. The Asheboro, North Carolina man doing his hometown proud here this afternoon in the Miller Time 300. Ken?
Jack Ingram is now shown as 14th overall. Ard will take a big chunk on that national championship effort if he stays running like he is in the second place. There are 48 laps remaining to be run in the Miller Time 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be on the air with the Miller High Life 500, and if you can't be here in Charlotte to enjoy it, by all means, be with us here at the booth. Donnie Allison, I think that race tomorrow is going to be one of the best of the year.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it, Kenny, because, you know, like they said a little earlier, the cars are so close, and, you know, whoever happens to hit the handling right and everything right, you know, it's going to be a whale of a race, just like this today. You know, whoever heard of cars sitting out here running like this all the race?
But to hit it right all day is nearly impossible. And some of the cars that'll be running back can be the ones that hit. I think back to Cale Yarborough, and he ran at Michigan back in the June race. And he didn't hit the combination all afternoon. Ran on the tail end, almost was lapped a couple of times, and then came back on that last pit stop. Waddell Wilson made a change. The car made that great recovery and went on to win. And that's the kind of drama that I think we can anticipate tomorrow when they go in the Miller High Life 500. It could well be that with 50 miles to go, there'll be 10 cars in the lead lap, and someone will just touch that right combination, those infinite variations that they make on tuning the suspension of these cars, and then the driver will take it home. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be exciting. We hope if you're not here at Charlotte to enjoy it with us, that you'll be listening here on the Performance Racing Network. Shepherd out in front, and Shepherd begins to build up a bit of an advantage. Now back to 20 car lengths over Sammy Ard in second place.
If you're a smoker, take a pouch instead of a puff. I'm talking about new Skoal Bandits, an individual portion of tobacco in a neat pre-moistened pouch. Listen to some guys who enjoy tobacco the Skoal Bandits way.
You put that little pouch between your lip and gum, and what happens is real tobacco pleasure without lighting up.
Best thing about Skoal Bandits is the wintergreen flavor. A pouch instead of a puff is the way guys are going to enjoy tobacco from now on.
If you're a smoker, try Skoal Bandits. Take a pouch instead of a puff.
155 laps are now complete, and still Morgan Shepherd, who has dominated this race, continues to do so. He's putting a lap on Charlie Luck right now. Sammy Ard stays there in second place. Dale Earnhardt secure in third, and now is Ron Bouchard in fourth. Bobby Allison is wheel to wheel with Neil Bonnet for fifth spot. Bonnet, the Warner Hodgson car on the inside, and the Miller car on the outside. That number 22 of Bobby Allison all the way around through turns 1 and 2 hill. They're side by side.
What a battle we're seeing between those two. Now Allison scoots out in front and has a run now, maybe a 2-car length advantage over Bonnet as we take it into 3. Allison gets off the point and away from Bonnet, but here comes Lake Speed. Now Lake should be shown in that lead lap. They're all three tucked in as they come off turn 4. Speed's on the move. You could throw a blanket over all three as they come through the tri-oval.
Lake Speed is up to 6th, Neil Bonnet to 7th, and those are the 7 cars in the lead lap. 7 machines remain in the front-running lap here in the Miller Time 300. This is the Performance Racing Network.
Morgan Shepherd still dominant. Sam Ard back in that second position. Sam Ard, the Miller High Life Invitational 300 winner at South Boston, and the current leading money winner on the Sportsman circuit. trying for that championship over Jack Ingram and still maintaining it, and possibly very much so with his performance here today. Look out, we've got a car that's smoking once again, a car that's been showing a lot of trouble today, that of the number 39, Mitchell Clark out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's pitted several times, he's smoked several times, and now once again into turn one, the Mitchell Clark car showing some trouble. No reason for caution yet. Hopefully pull it off the track and not cause a problem. No oil spill from that number 39 car. 158 laps. The number 7 car, Morgan Shepherd, still what a performance for Morgan Shepherd across the stripe once again into lap number 159. Inviting you once again, ladies and gentlemen, to stay with us after the race today for the Dukes of Hazzard show. After the race, about 10 minutes.
At 150 laps and 50 laps to go, this is how they were running, pretty much the same way as they are now. In that first position, Morgan Shepherd. Second was Sammy Yard. Third was Dale Earnhardt. Fourth was Ron Bouchard. Fifth, Bobby Allison. Sixth, Neil Bonnet. Seventh was Lake Speed. There's been a little fluctuation in the back end of that lead lap. A lap down in 8th position was Darrell Waltrip. Rodney Coombs was 9th. Tommy Ellis was in 10th. Pete Silva was 11th. Davey Allison was in 12th. Glenn Jarrett was 13th. Jack Ingram was in 14th, 2 laps down. And in 15th is Dale Jarrett with a 16th position, Richie Pan. Chuck Young, one of the things we'd like to know about is car number 11. What has happened to Ingram? Everyone thought he would at least be in the lead lap. He's 2 laps amiss now. As to what the problems are there, I think we'd like to know.
Well, we'll get that report and bring it right back to you, Ken.
Donnie Allison, that car number 11, which has been right up in the hunt, has run very well in this racetrack, and it looks secure. It looks like it's, I think he's just down on motor.
I do too, Kenny. I don't really understand it because Jack hasn't run well all day, and you know, that's unusual for him. You know, I don't think that the point thing is in his mind or anything else. He's in this race to win it if he can, and but his car is not up to par.
It certainly isn't up to snuff right now. 160 laps are complete, and still Morgan Shepherd. I can't recall anyone dominating this race in years like Morgan Shepherd has today.
No, you know, and it's unusual because, like I said on the pit stops a while ago, the people got a chance to change this and that around, but he just steadily pulls away, and when you look back behind him and get to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place man, you know, they're pretty equal, and but Morgan right now has things going his way.
This is almost like 1973 instead of 1983 when Bobby Allison led 194 of the 200 laps. I mean, your brother just put it on everybody that year. Remember that?
Yes, and, I do.
40 cars were out here at the start, and it's been that long, however, since we've seen anyone do what Morgan Shepherd is doing in this track. 163 laps complete this time by. Dale Earnhardt begins to run with Bouchard. Bouchard has pulled by. He has taken over 3rd. Falling to 4th is Earnhardt. So Earnhardt must be off his speed just a bit in car number 15. Back straightaway, they're still together, and they're locked up in a draft, and they're out looking for someone to run with and run against.
Ron Bouchard has really been hammering away. He flowed by Dale Earnhardt, but Dale hooked back up on that draft again. That's a change of positions. Bouchard is now in the 3rd spot. That would drop Earnhardt back to 5th, but he's hanging right on to Bouchard, who almost lost it just a lap or so ago coming out of 4.
It's still just an incredible performance for the Malou car, or rather for the Whitaker car that is out in the lead. The Ed Whitaker car is just running tremendously. Looking back at some of the records of the previous winners, remember the Baloo race? Everybody had a shot at first place for just a moment, and then it went away. I was thinking back, too, about when Bobby Allison last won this race in 1978. That was a big payday, $18,000 on this racetrack for winning in 78. This track has continued to lead in advancing the sportsman ranks of NASCAR, getting them some pretty good cash and some experience on a track which really they can handle.
Well, you know, really and truthfully, Kenny, where are they going to get the Grand National guys from if they don't give these guys the opportunity to run on super speedways, and they can't do it without the money, and Charlotte's been one of the leaders in that thing.
That's the story. Bobby Allison right now is the story of 5th place, and I would think that we need to find out a little bit more about car number 22. He has a lot more in him than that car apparently has in it.
Well, you know, Kenny, I noticed that Bobby has been having a little bit of difficulty. Of course, he and Neil and Lake Speed and them are having one whale of a race right where they are now, and they can't get in any line and seem to get any draft going. Neil now is finally in on Bobby's back bumper. Maybe they'll gain a little bit.
That's the battle to follow. that is the battle on the racetrack. There is not really a battle. They're working each other to try to just pull up on the second-place car. They being number 74, which is the Bouchard car and the 15 car. They're holding back in that third spot. But the real battle is resting with Bobby Allison trying to fend off the guy he taught how to do it. That's Neil Bonnet right behind him. And then comes Lake Speed. And Rodney Combs hangs on the back of that. He's tail-ending them as they go into turn number 1.
We've been watching that quadruple group of drivers all the way around the speedway for a number of laps. Now Rodney Combs moves down inside of Lake Speed and tries to set his sights on the back bumper of Neil Bonnet. Now Bonnet looks at the back bumper of Allison, and he may do something as they head toward turn.
An incredible performance by young dirt track sensation Rodney Combs. He's been out here before. They break away, though, and Lake Speed goes back single file behind Bonnet. Bonnet looks like, whoa, trouble. Here comes the Charlie Luck car, wheeling out of control off turn number 4, sliding towards the line.
He's in the grass. There is no caution. 168 complete. Luck spinning out of 4. He spins all the way to the start-finish line of the grass. No caution on the track.
Mike Joy here with Richard Petty talking about Talladega.
We run in, say, places like Talladega, and you're running close to 200 miles an hour, and the mental demands on you are very, very severe. And, you know, you've got to be on your toes all the time, and just automatically you get off the edge and you get a headache, and there's nothing you can do about it. It just happens. That's the reason we always keep some goodies handy.
Read the label, folks. Goodies headache powders give you the 2 pain relievers doctors recommend most.
Just had a spin out there, Charlie Luck. Charlie Luck, a West Point graduate out of the Luckstone Dryden Oil Pontiac from Richmond, Virginia. It's been a hard time for several drivers out of that turn 4, but it takes the management out of that turn to be the crucial leaders here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. You see Morgan Shepherd just having a tremendous day today for his turn, possibly to take it, with 30 laps to go for the Miller Time 300.
The best beer for the best time of the day, Miller High Life.
At the Charlotte Motor Speedway, 30 laps remain in the Miller Time 300 this afternoon. Still Morgan Shepherd, the entire story. Can it stay that way? It doesn't seem possible. We'll follow it to the finish. This is the Performance Racing Network.
Bill Dollar up in the towers. We take a break from the Performance Racing Network. Minor change in schedule after the race today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us after the race is over with. Grand National practice laps after the race. Then, following Grand National practice, you'll see the Dukes of Hazzard. After Grand National practice at the conclusion of the race here in just a little bit, you'll be seeing the Dukes of Hazzard after the Grand National practice laps, the Grand National drivers, the 40 of them for tomorrow's race here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stunt drivers from the television show from the Dukes of Hazzard performing after Grand National practice here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tends to be Morgan Shepherd Day here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today in the number 7 car. The number 7 Morgan Shepherd, Cunningham, North Carolina. Food Country USA Oldsmobile. Unusual for Oldsmobiles to be the dominance, but that's the situation today with the number 2 car of Sam Ard. Number 00 car of Sam Ard in the second position. The Thomas Brothers.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Go back to the Performance Racing Network.
Remain 28 laps in the Miller Time 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. There are 7 cars running the lead lap, and the car that just seems to run down everyone today is Morgan Shepherd in first. Then comes Sammy Ard in second. Third is Ron Bouchard. In fourth, it is the number 15 car of Dale Earnhardt, and then a real struggle. In fifth spot, Bobby Allison by just a bumper over Neil Bonnet. Currently in sixth, Rodney Combs running a lap down, is mixing it up in there, but he is not in the lead lap. The 7th place and last car in the lead lap remains Lake Speed, the T-Zac machine. Then running in 8th is number 89, Combs, who continues to press and try to fight his way through. He comes up on lap traffic as he came out of 4th and nearly ate up the back end of a back marker as he came off the 4th turn. The 9th position overall in this race remains Darrell Waltrip, not having one of his best. Then in the 10th position is Glenn Jarrett. Up to 11th, picking up a spot, is Davey Allison. 12th is Pete Silva. And 13th is Tommy Ellis. 2 laps back in the 14th position, it is Dale Jarrett with the 15th spot, Jack Ingram. Ingram maintaining 15th.
And Pat Patterson has a report as to what's happening with that car.
Well, we talked to Roy Lee Jones, who's the crew chief on Jack's car, and he said that for a while they were doing fine, and the car is getting loose at this point. He doesn't anticipate another pit stop, so maybe that will help out as some of the others will have to pit. That's about it for right now, Ken Squier.
So, apparently what we saw as the car that looked pretty good was not the story at all. Ingram, who is so strong, the old Iron Man, makes it look smooth, but he's got an ill-handling car. Rodney Combs is on the inside, diving into turn number 3. He is a lap down, but he is moving underneath Lake Speed, one of the cars in the lead lap. Combs, the dirt tractor that Bill Connell has followed for many years, really looks good out here today, Bill. Yes, and also, Ken, he's running for a national dirt track championship right here in this area this weekend and doing double duty. He's in the 500 tomorrow, plus the 300 today, so he's got a lot of racing ahead. Well, here he is. He comes up on the inside of Neil Bonnet, and Rodney Combs is really making a mark for himself. Really important for a young driver like Rodney Combs to get out here if he's got any aspirations for the Grand National and show these Grand National owners that he can get the job done. He's in trouble, Ken. He almost got in trouble. He ran plumb down on the apron, got in the grass, and almost looped the car, but gathered it back up going into 3.
Kenny, I've been watching that little duel between those 4 cars right now, and really and truly, Bobby and Neil are content to run in the draft, which, you know, will help them gain on the leader if they can. But Rodney and Lake, they seem to want to pass one another and get out of line and stuff like that. And that time going down into turn 3, Rodney did get in the apron a little bit getting in and got loose. And, you know, it's experience. If they sit there and watch how Bobby and Neil goes about doing it, you know, they'll learn. And you got to make a mistake a time or two to learn. But if you're fortunate enough to do like you're doing right now and get the mistake behind you and not have it cause you to tear your car or something up.
Well, the rumor mill has it that Rodney Combs will run for Winston Cup Rookie of the Year for that champion spot for the award.
Trouble with the leader. Morgan Shepherd's car number 7, way off the pace down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, we just had a change for third spot a moment ago when Bouchard and Earnhardt were dueling. But right now, the big story is car number 7 of Morgan Shepherd in 3.
Here he comes off turn 4, and Sam Ard is your new leader. As they come by, Sammy Ard is in front. What a story this is going to be if Ard can win it. The second place car becomes number 74. And limping on a pit road and behind the wall, right back to the pits, goes car number 7, Morgan Shepherd. So all those laps that he ran, dominating this race, it blows up coming out of turn number 2 and into the back straightaway. The new leader in the race is Sammy Ard in first. In second is Ron Bouchard. Going third is the Dale Earnhardt car. And we'll get the interval now for you on the watch between the leader, the 00 car of Sammy Ard, and that second place battle now at the line. And that is a battle. Now Earnhardt is going to the inside on Ron Bouchard as they approach the first turn.
And he takes him going into turn number 1, the south end of the speedway, but Bouchard fights right back. 2 yellow automobiles, one trimmed in blue, that being Earnhardt, the other trimmed in white, that being Bouchard. They run nose to tail down that back chute at 170 miles an hour.
Bouchard in that position, maybe just setting up for a drafting situation. I don't think they really want to race at this point. There's a 7-second interval between the leader. Well, they might want to, and he only has about 19 laps to go. He just came across the line, 19 laps to go on the leader, Sammy Ard, and it is 7 2/10 seconds back to the second place battle, which is Earnhardt, and right there with him is Ron Bouchard. Out of turn number 2, Bouchard just settles down right there to ride on Earnhardt's bumper. Sammy Ard just riding the center groove very smoothly off turn number 4. And back in the pack, behind the Bouchard-Earnhardt battle in 3 and 4, Bobby Allison, Neil Bonnet, and Rodney Combs continues to strong-arm that car with Lake Speed. Let's go immediately to the pit area and get the story on Morgan Shepherd.
Well, I'm standing by with a very disappointed Morgan Shepherd. Morgan, you led almost all of this race, and I know it's got to be a disappointment for you this afternoon.
Yeah, you know, when you got it together like that, it's a heartbreaker when something happens. But we didn't know whether the engine would last or not anyhow, because yesterday afternoon when we went out to practice, we had water getting in the oil, and it was real bad blowing oil out. And so we doped the engine up, put a lot of stop leak in it, and was hoping that it would hold. But undoubtedly, something went ahead and cracked, and the engine quit went number 1.
Is the track in pretty good shape right now?
Yeah, the track's in real good shape. You run high or low, and, you know, I just really hate it for Ed and all the guys and Food Country that sponsors the car. We just picked up a new sponsor a few weeks back, and, you know, it's a shame that when you have it together that well to go out like this.
Well, a very disappointed Morgan Shepherd after leading half the race. Back to you, Ken.
Sammy Ard stays in front, not since 1976 when old Mr. Modified, then 46-year-old Ray Hendricks won this race. Has there been a true sportsman driver to win the prestigious event? Remember that race in 76? What a show. Neil Bonnet, then a youngster, battling Hendrick right to the finish. Well, Sammy Ard can put another sportsman driver across the line in front of the Grand National likes of Earnhardt, Bouchard, Allison, and Bonnet. If things hang together, there are now just 16 laps to go for the leader, Sammy Ard. More from the Charlotte Motor Speedway shortly. Let's pause 70 seconds for the stations to identify themselves and give you these 60-second announcements on the Performance Racing Network.
15 laps remaining here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bill Dollar once again in the tower, and it looks like Sammy Ard's day. If he can just hold on for the 15 laps remaining. 14 now lap was number 2 and number 3 cars of Dale Earnhardt and Ron Bouchard. Bobby Allison in that 4th, 5th, and 6th lap. Neil Bonnet, Rodney Combs trying to get around Neil Bonnet, but just can't do it. Into turn 2, up to turn 2 at the moment. Neil Bonnet right on the heels of Bobby Allison, close behind him into the backstretch. And that looks like it's going to be a tight one into turn 3. Bobby Allison, Neil Bonnet, and Rodney Combs safely behind in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th slot at this moment. The double-O car, 14 laps left. Sammy Ard out of Asheville, North Carolina, Asheboro, North Carolina, increasing his lead in the sportsman standings for sure at this point over Jack Ingram. And what a difference this is going to make in his championship run for the sportsman circuit for 1983 at the Miller Time 300 today. We say welcome to Miller Time, and a big thank you to all the folks. Sam Bell Navis down at the Miller Suite at the moment. Big thanks to you, too, and all the people for Miller for making it possible for such a grand display of auto racing today here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Sammy Ard looking for his first Super Speedway win. He has 8 wins in sportsman competition this year. He's earned over $99,000, and right now, Donnie Allison, he is beginning to think that maybe, perhaps, just possibly, in less than 13 laps, he can win $30,000.
Well, I'm sure that's going on in his mind, Kenny. And, you know, right now, it looks to me, especially if Dale and him keep racing like they're racing, that Sammy's just going to have a ride to the end. And, you know, I was trying to get a lap time on both of them, but I got my block all messed up a while ago because I was trying to see how much he was pulling away from them.
7 3/10 of a second is now the interval, and still side by side, Earnhardt on the inside, Bouchard on the outside. I think they have just decided they're going to settle second place between them. Meanwhile, back in the 4th position, Bobby Allison is there, Neil Bonnet is in 5th, Lake Speed is in 6th, and continue to mix it up with him is young Rodney Combs, who has aspirations of moving up to the Winston Cup, and he's trying to look as good and as sharp as he can out here today. Back straightaway, Allison is being challenged by Neil Bonnet. That's in the Fracas for 4th position. In the frac car for 3rd, it is Earnhardt for the moment. Right on his rear bumper is Ron Bouchard, and leading by 7 4/10 seconds with now 12 laps, less than 12 laps to go. It continues to be Sammy Ard.
Well, Kenny, let me tell you what's going to happen. Dale and Ron Bouchard are going to keep up the racing like this, and Bobby and Neil and that little group is going to catch them. I think they've closed up quite a bit in the last couple laps because the race going on between right now Dale Earnhardt and Ron Bouchard.
Morgan Shepherd thought it was all going to be his. The car was running flawlessly, and then you know the story. Away it went. He's out of the race, gone away. All of his aspirations for winning it. Can Sammy Ard hold together?
Oh, trouble. Rodney Combs is in trouble again off before he's sliding towards you at the line.
He gets it gathered back up right at the start-finish line, loses the J.W. Hunt car again, slides in the grass, tries to straighten. He's coming back on the track. He's got it back. Well, oh my heart, what a slide. He slid better than 1,000 feet before he finally got it back, and he keeps right on trucking.
Well, Kenny, you know, Rodney is really a good dirt track driver, and he
proved it there.
He showed the fans right there that he's an excellent dirt track driver.
That battle for second place, here it comes again. Earnhardt is coming to the line. Right on the rear bumper is Ron Bouchard. Then, just 3 seconds back, Bobby Allison is there in 4th position with Neil Bonnet tight to him and Lake Speed holding on to that 6th position. Sammy Ard is hoping to do it all today. Can he win it? Who would have thought earlier this afternoon that he could pull it off? And Sammy Ard is now in a position to also get a real bite toward the championship this year. If he can pull this one off, he led by 28 points going in today. He may be on his way. What would the championship mean to Sammy Ard?
Oh, it would mean a lot. you know, because we ain't never run for it but 3 times. This will be the 3rd time we ever run for it. And I finished 2nd every time we ever run for it. So maybe I can pull 1st place out this time. I hope so anyway.
First place all the way around. Now 8 laps to go. What a turnaround for Sammy Ard. In the 1973 inaugural race, Ard crashed in the very first lap, letting Jack Ingram coast home in the battle for the championship. That wreck cost Sammy Ard his ride to the Thomas brothers. He was not rehired in 1974. However, mid-season 1975, Ard was put back in the saddle of the 00, and he's been there ever since, and this could be his greatest day. Meanwhile, here's Lake Speed getting under Neil Bonnet. They're fighting for 5th position, side by side into turn number 1.
And they literally touch sheet metal at that point of the speedway. Still Speed down on the inside, Bonnet on the outside as they try to close up on Allison, who's moved out about 6 car lengths. Meanwhile, Ron Bouchard has gotten around for 2nd spot as he got around Dale Earnhardt just a few moments ago.
Dead heat down that back straightaway. Lake Speed, Neil Bonnet, literally no room. You could put both cars together just like a puzzle. It fits perfectly. They touch again up in that 3rd and 4th turn. Out of turn 4, Lake Speed will come out on top.
Arch Deal, meet your party at the front gate, please. Arch Deal, meet your party at the front gate.
Seconds. Sammy Ard, now within 6 laps of the greatest win of his life. It could win him the championship. It'll win him the biggest purse he's ever won, the biggest purse any sportsman driver has ever won. If the 00, the Thomas Brothers car, can just hang together over these last laps. What a great moment for the Thomas brothers, too, here, Donnie Allison.
I tell you, it's really going to be a thrill, and there's nobody out there more deserving of it than Sam Ard.
Well, the point is well taken here that mixing the Grand National drivers with the sportsman drivers, it gives them the experience, it gives them the chance to run on a super speedway with really the super speedway glamour, the super speedway tradition and the style. And here's Ard, who's run a lot of years, finally putting it all together. He is now within 5 laps of winning. Morgan Shepherd led for 149 laps today. There have been 8 lead changes among 6 drivers. Not as many as usual by a long shake in this race today. Now 4 laps to go. And Morgan Shepherd's car resting down there in the pits while Sammy Ard may be ready to taste the greatest glory of his entire racing career. It's still in the 2nd position. The Earnhardt car, Bouchard is 3rd, and Bobby Allison is trying to draw a bead. He is pulling away from this real dash and challenge that's been going on between Neil Bonnet and Lake Speed. He'd just as soon not be near that in case they get in trouble.
I think right now that the dash between Neil Bonnet and Lake Speed has really become great. Now Lake is getting under Neil right now, and they've been side by side for the last 2 or 3 laps.
Sammy Ard is back to the line. He has 3 laps to go. The battle is for 2nd position. Down out of turn number 4 they come for 2nd place. Bouchard is there, and right behind him comes Earnhardt as they go into turn 1.
Where Bouchard's been doing a wonderful job of using up the racetrack and keeping Dale Earnhardt behind him. Right now they're through the middle groove in turn number 2. Off of 2 they move now. Yellow and white car number 47, of course, correction 74 it is, this time driven by Bouchard, and the yellow and blue number 15 of Earnhardt in 3.
Looks like Bouchard's got a little sailing room. He's pulled by a car left. Another tremendous battle going on between Neil Bonnet along with Lake Speed, and Lake Speed is pushed right up on a bumper of Bonnet again. That is the battle for 5th position. Allison is 4th. The battle for 5th will be settled right at the line as they cross the stripe, going down into turn number 1. Lake Speed dives to the inside, and Bonnet goes a little wide, but Bonnet holds on to 5th. Speed coming back. Sammy Ard is coming by Bill Connell. Sammy Ard just cruising, and he's been very light, a little bit off the throttle, you can tell, Ken, as he comes by to save the car. He's not far away from victory, but I bet he's hearing all kinds of noises beneath his helmet. At the line, white flag is out. 1 lap remains on Sammy Ard. Battle for 2nd place coming to the stripe. It is still Bouchard just in front of Earnhardt as they come to the line and now head for turn 1.
And Ron Bouchard of Pittsburgh, Massachusetts keeps Dale Earnhardt in favor. Now Earnhardt moves high, and he's going to be looking to do battle down that back chute. Meanwhile, your leader, Sammy Ard, going very carefully toward 3, but here comes that battle for 2nd spot off of 2 midway down the back straightaway.
Sammy Ard's in heavy lap traffic. Earnhardt knows there's a lot of money riding between 2nd and 3rd. Earnhardt goes down to the inside. Bouchard is upstairs. Earnhardt will get 2nd. It looks like Bouchard comes back. The winner is Sammy Ard. Ard is going to win it. The battle for 2nd coming to the line. At the line, it will be Earnhardt in 2nd. Back in 5th, it is side by side. No call. Looks like a dead heat. It may be Bonnet by a whisker. What did you think, Donnie?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was awful close, Kenny, and it was really something.
margin of victory, 8 3/10 of a second. Sammy Ard has done it. Sammy Ard, a sportsman driver, has beaten the superstars of American racing at their own game, super speedway racing. The Thomas Brothers 00, the white-red numeral car, now begins to take its first deep breath of the afternoon. Ard is some $30,000 richer, he and the team. The second place was decided at the line as they came right to it, 15 at the strike.
Yes, it was.
And then getting back, of course, Bobby Allison secured the 4th position. The battle for 5th came right to the line, and we'll wait for scoring officially on that. Let's pause right now on the Performance Racing Network.
The conclusion. It's over. Sam Ard of Asheboro, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner here today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. What a display from Sammy Ard. Sam Ard, the current leading money winner on the sportsman circuit, and with this record purse paid today here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, increases that point standing for the championship on the sportsman circuit, increasing his lead in the amount of money won. His car being wheeled off into pit row towards the winner's circle. Again, congratulations to Sammy Ard. 00, the winner here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today from Asheboro, North Carolina, the Thomas Brothers Cunningham Oldsmobile. Howard Thomas, the owner, has to be a very happy and proud man here today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay with us at the Speedway today because Grand National practice session will be starting here shortly when all the drivers for tomorrow's Miller High Life 500, followed immediately after the practice runs. You will be seeing the Dukes of Hazzard.
Take a pouch.
The Dukes of Hazzard will be performing here this afternoon immediately following the Grand National practice by all the 40 drivers here for tomorrow's race. You will be seeing the Dukes of Hazzard performing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. All the stunt drivers will be here to perform and do stunts for you immediately following the Grand National practice race.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Harlan Hoover, call the press box, please. Harlan Hoover, call the press box, please.
Bit of a puff.
At the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the greatest victory of his career has just been recorded by Sammy Ard. The 00, the Thomas Brothers car, has just pulled into victory lane, and he has beaten the superstars at their own game. The Super Speedway racing title today in the Miller Time 300 belongs to a man who has never won on a Super Speedway, and it puts him one step further toward the national title. Ard victorious this afternoon, and will be going to victory lane right now. Chuck Young is standing by with Sammy Ard.
Well, Sam has just come into victory lane and is getting washed off. He looks very refreshed, though. He's talking over with some of the crew on his first Super Speedway victory. It'll be a moment before he comes out of the car, and we will have a word with the winner.
The speed is a record 141.269 miles per hour. 141.269 for Sammy Ard. And the short trackers, the Saturday Night Specials of America, they have their big moment as Ard now steps from his automobile. Let's go back to Chuck Young.
Well, we're going to take just a moment. They want to bring him around to the front of the car, but it is quite a happy victory here for Jerry and all the crew. One thing we want to make mention before we get Sam over and we're waiting for him to bring him around is Dale Inman was a bit instrumental in this win, we feel. We don't know the extent. Sam, if we could get you to come by just a moment. Congratulations, Sammy, your first Super Speedway win.
Yeah, it was, man, I don't know how to say it. It was wonderful.
Did you know when Morgan went out?
Yeah, I knew whenever he fell out, I passed him going down the backside when I told him Morgan had trouble on the radio.
All right, we're going to get you to come around and duck under the front of the car.
Okay.
All right, we're going to bring Sammy around to the front of the car. Ken, we'll go back up to you for just a moment.
Well, the man who started at Dillon Speedway in South Carolina has now pulled it off. He's won here at the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway, and that victory with all the bonuses today is some $30,000 that goes into Sammy Ard and the Thomas Brothers' pocket for this afternoon's effort. On the finish, in the top 5, unofficial, a new record is official, 141-plus miles per hour, Donnie Allison. Sammy Ard first, Dale Earnhardt second, Ron Bouchard in third, Bobby Allison in fourth, Neil Bonnet in fifth, and Lake Speed finishing in sixth. Those were the cars up in that front lap as they finally decided this encounter this afternoon.
Well, really, Ken, you know, and it was quite a race all the way down through the pack. Those first 6 cars put on quite a show. You know, they may not all be together all the time, but, you know, they had the 3 running for 4th, 5th, and 6th, the the two running for second and third, and really had a heck of a race.